And Point and Marner have one other little thing in common. Both are restricted free agents at the end of the season. So who would you rather have? Interesting fodder for discussion with Mike Johnson. Greg Button joining us from Calgary as well. Guys, you can sign one of them, but only one. Who would it be, Mike?
Well, Craig, you know I'm greedy. You know I want them both, but I can't have them both. And it pains me to admit, as a former winger, the centermen are just more valuable than the wingers. Even if they produce around the same and their impacts around the same, centermen are just more important and harder to find.
Well, I agree with that. I think that's the golden rule, but there are exceptions to the rule. Brayden Point, swinger, Nikita Kucherov, Patrick Kane is another example in Chicago, and I think Mitch Marner is definitely an exception to that rule as well.
Hey, he is, but when you talk about driving offense, you're talking about setting up plays. I'm talking about goals, the hardest thing to do, the hardest thing to find. And undoubtedly, with a 30-goal year last year, on to 45-plus this year for Brayden Point, he has shown himself in his career to be a better goal scorer than Mitch Marner. Again, a more difficult skill set to find.
No question that goals are hard. So we have two players that are very different in terms of their skill set. Point, a better goal scorer. Mitch Marner, a better setup guy. So when we try to factor that in and compare apples to apples as best we can, I'm going to use primary points. 69 primary points, and that's goals and a play that directly leads to a goal, as opposed to 61 points for Brayden Point. So when we try to even it out, I think it takes away that argument that the center is always more valuable than the winger in this case.
We can't ignore last year, though, Craig, where Brayden Point was significantly better than Mitch Marner in both goals and points when it came to even strength points, producing 5-on-5 as well as 5-on-4, where he has shown himself this year to be one of the best trigger men with 19 power play goals on the year, something that Mitch Marner can't even come close to just yet.
Here's what I would say. Dead even in points. You have 39% of Brayden Points on the power play, 22% of Mitch Marner's points on the power play. 80% of the game is played at even strength, and that can be considered the harder part of the game. And that's where Mitch Marner shows that he's able to contribute at a greater rate than Brayden Point. And I'm not trying to diminish the power play. All I'm trying to say is Mitch Marner as a winger is every bit as good and maybe even a little bit better than the centerman in this case.
And the other part of the game, we love talking about offense, but there is the defensive factor, and I think Brayden Point has shown the trust that John Cooper has in him last year, and this year comparing him to Patrice Bergeron and Anze Kopitar, and a future Selke winner at center. I'm not sure if Mitch Marner is just there with Mike Babcock.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's killing penalties. Brayden Point isn't this year. And Brayden Point is out there at the last minute of the game, protecting leads, everything that goes with it. So is Mitch Marner. So he has the favor of Mike Babcock.
I don't know. Brayden Point doesn't kill penalties, Craig, because he can't afford to break his toes blocking shots. He's just too important.
Well, Point has more goals, Marner has more assists. They're identical in points, as you guys have talked about. I predict they'll have one more little thing in common this fall. Much bigger bank accounts. Greg Button in Calgary. Mike Johnson, thank you.